Stacie. Every time I FaceTime you, I feel like you're my guru slash
Oh God.
person who I have to go to about relationships and dating, etc. Because I am still single as of right now.
But I haven't dated in so long. I haven't dated. Tyson and I have been together for like 14 years. So
And married how many of those 14
years?
Oh, wow.
12 years it'll be in July. It'll be 12 years.
Okay.
But I feel like every time I'm like, how are things going with someone? And you're like, can you FaceTime me really quick? It's just too much to
because
over text.
I need your FaceTime. It's the closest thing to being in person.
Yeah.
Where I need your your calmness, your wisdom, your intrigue, and you ask the right questions that I don't. I was like, oh, I haven't thought of it that way. Let me think about that and explore that direction of it. Or I need to release that
But I love kind of living through you too, because there is that excitement about dating and meeting new people. So it's fun to see through you, you experiencing all these things, even though they haven't all been great. But yeah, if you want to share how it's been going, because I never got to experience the dating apps because I think they came out after, and I never did online dating either. So
oh gosh,
I would love for you to
oh gosh,
talk.
I'm so lucky. Well, I'm actually late to the game with dating apps because we are of the same generation where we were able to meet people in real time.
Yeah.
So after my last significant long-term relationship, I was like, oh, here's this new world of dating and being single. How do people meet each other?
That's what we've been talking about. Is how do you meet someone organically or
I tried.
I don't know. Yeah.
And even for my last relationship, I happened to meet him in person in a church setting. But it was even a cafe of a church. But still, I was open, to meeting people still in real life. And luckily, I think he was on the same boat, wasn't into apps. So he was still very conscious, still felt comfortable asking girls out. So I think that's why I was very attracted to him, because not many guys do that anymore. I will tell you, girl, slim pickings out there. Not many guys will ask girls out in real time.
Would you ever ask them out before they asked you out?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
I have. The last guy that I dated before my previous relationship, because as I've said in previous episodes, I've lived the restaurant life, being a bartender, server, but being an artist. And so I got a lot of dates being my marketing sales self with here's the food.
But it's just the energy.
It's the energy, and it's
people
just
fall in love with you.
Fun though, because being at Baby Blues, it felt like my second home, and I'm like, you're coming to my home, and
let me welcome you the Filipino way. Welcome to the house.
Welcome to the house. Let me tell you, and I get some free food.
Yeah.
Exactly. So with the last guy, he was actually a regular, and. How much do I disclose? He worked next door at the bar next door. And so all the girls on the floor and at work, even the guys, maybe it was oh my gosh, this guy, wow. That's when you know when guys are
oh, that's
wow.
a beautiful man.
Yes, that's a beautiful man. And so I was just feeling really good about myself that day and taking orders. And
you should.
Right?
Not taking orders, feeling good about yourself.
Taking orders of and it was a busy night. It was a weekend night and bouncing around as I do. And I think he was with a friend, another regular. And so I just kept on going up to them because they're at the counter, easy access, just making small talk, as we always do. And I just felt the itch to just be he was talking about movies. And I was like, oh, we should go check out a movie sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see him think, and it was like, yeah, let's do it. And so this is a trick of the trade for all you young folk who want to meet people in real time, especially if you're in the industry and like in restaurants. I left my phone number on the receipt.
Oh,
I was like, here,
smooth,
there you
Marie.
go. Yeah. So
Very
I did that
smooth.
often of like.
Often. So smart. Did it work often?
Yeah,
Wow.
it works. It works.
I love that.
So,
But now that you don't work at a restaurant,
I know.
Where
Where
do
do I meet people? And
do you feel like the lockdown, like, and people not being able to go out at all affected things? Or are people still kind of not going out because of that? Because, COVID is still very real.
I think it even started before that, but I think you're right. The pandemic probably did something to people's psyches and the culture of dating where maybe people are more reliant on the apps because they're just so used to that's where I meet people.
Yeah.
So even when I go out, I still try to be present and look around. I don't feel like people are present anymore. Like I was out in West Hollywood for a friend's birthday the other week. No, it's just people are in their own groups. They're not even like wanting to talk. And some are, if they're like drunk and little like loose and just, but not that many people are anymore. And it's really sad. So that's why going back to the whole, how do you meet people? It's like, okay, I always had an aversion to apps even years ago when it first started because I was like, oh, I don't need that. Like I can meet people in real time. Even though I still believe that, and I know I can meet people in real time, I find it exponentially more difficult to do that because there's just not viable men who are actually in that same space.
Viable men. Are they either like married or with kids or getting divorced?
Yeah, because I'm of a certain age now where like I feel like the playing field has just gotten a lot smaller. Maybe they're out there. Maybe like they're like on
They
to
have
their
to be.
second marriage or something, or like
Or single.
Or
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are like waiting.
maybe
longer.
or they. Why are they?
Because you
single?
have met people that are still
Yeah.
never been married and have
Yeah,
dated
online.
them. Yeah. And how has the online with that eye roll? How has that been going?
Well, I can't judge because I haven't been on it as long as a lot of people. So I will say this without disclosing any names or protecting the privacy of everybody and not knowing how like the future may unfold. There's a variety of personalities on there, and for some, like early on in my first date, it was just like, woof, you didn't disclose a lot of information. Like, why didn't you say you were a father on your profile? You just dropped that bomb on me on the first date. I mean, I keep an open mind. I have no judgments or anything,
Yeah,
but I
there's
feel
also
like,
a thing of like, are you proud of your child? Are you
so
proud
that
to
was
be a
kind of
father?
like, that's something to think about. But like I told you before, when I had a FaceTime you about this, like, no, I just didn't feel that vibe, and he was touching
he the
me.
touchy-feely one? Okay. Yeah.
So there's those things about dating of just like, oh, you met online, and then the first time you meet, why are you already touching me and asking me these weird questions?
But if you were into him, would it be okay if he was touching you?
See, I don't know, because again, that was the first
But you weren't
time.
into him, I think,
wasn't
from
into
the
him.
moment, right?
Yeah, but I've been on dates where I met them in real time, and it was the first date, and I'm like, I can't remember if they were already touching me, or maybe I was like, young and drunk. And like here I was, we had like one drink, but I was still sober enough and, an adult where that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe because I've been on dates where I did like them and I still like, no, I'm
the
good
guy
with
at
you
Baby
not touching.
Blues that everyone was into, if he had started touching you like that on the first date?
Yes, well, but because we've already established a foundation. Like, we had already talked for months and we had known each other.
For months?
Yeah, maybe years. Because
Oh, so you gave him your number not the first time you saw him.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like he came in like one random day and you were like, hello, let's go to a movie.
It was funny because when we were talking.
So you had a rapport already.
We had a rapport already because when we were later talking, like when we were already together, he told me that once I left, after I slipped that number, his friend was all like, so how long have you been working on that to get that all set and done? And he was like, that just kind of happened. It just was just very smooth. And I think it's because the first time we met, I don't know if either one of us was dating or whatever, but like I always walk past his bar, and I think he would just call me Baby Blues Girl or something, or like his like coworker called me Baby Blues Girl because they would always see me, and we would always just talk and like, oh, these are cute guys, restaurant guys. It's West Hollywood, and we would just like have fun because we knew each other. We like worked on the same block. We like hook each other up because it's what you do, and then we've already established that rapport, and I think there was already an attraction there. But he took it pretty slow. Like, it took a while for him to even kiss me also. Or I think I went in for the lean in for him to, like, kiss me back. Yeah. So, again, I don't know how it is with, like, the different touch. But I know for a fact with that guy who I told you about, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
No. There was, like...
Because you didn't... I think you were turned off from him already just from, like... Because, like, it's one thing, like, connecting with someone... over texting, I guess. Like, I wouldn't even know what that would be like just to connect over text, but then to, like, meet them, feel their energy, hear their voice, see their mannerisms. Like,
that's a lot.
It's a lot to take in about a person.
I think for me, at least, I think for us, because, we remember a time before dating apps and connecting with people before that's still important to me. I think there's even people who are around our age, and especially for the people who are younger, that don't know what that's like or don't remember what that's like. So they're just like, okay, this is what it is now. I'm okay with that. I'm like, no, that's not okay with me. I want to feel and experience my senses and have that kinesthetic reaction to somebody. Because
it's a genuine connection.
Presence. Yeah. Can you think back to, like, dating right before and tell me about, like, Tyson when you two, like, got together?
I know, God, we have the dumbest story. So I was working at the court and he was a process server at the time, and he would come in all the time for, like, years. And I was in a relationship. That relationship was terrible. It should not have been as long as it was, but it was 5 years. And I remember he'd come in all the time, and I was like, oh my God, this guy.
Do you remember the first time you saw him? Were you like, oh.
Yeah, he had a shaved head at the time, and he was wearing, I think he was wearing this, like, red shirt, and he had glasses at the time before he had LASIK, because he still has that shirt. Or maybe we threw it away because there were so many holes in it. And he had, like, the sleeve tattoos, and I was
Were you like,
oh my God. But if I see someone I'm attracted to, like, they'd never know.
Like, oh, wow.
Because I don't give, I'm
straight
just,
face.
Yeah. And I don't, because I thought he was so good looking. Like, I don't want him to think that, like,
I do.
Like,
I did the same
give him, like,
yeah. You don't want to give him that energy of just like,
oh, I look, goddamn, I look good or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I do the same
adding
thing,
to the, if he was conceited.
If he had an ego,
Exactly.
Totally.
So we saw each other for years. I would help him.
You
not speak to him.
You actually, like,
I would just take his papers and not look at him.
You didn't make eye contact.
No. And so I thought he didn't notice me because I was like, oh my God, he's so cute, And then I broke up with my boyfriend in January, I think, of 2009, finally. And then in April of 2009, his coworker came up to my coworker and was like, hey, is your coworker, me, single? Because my coworker is, like, so into her.
Cupid.
Yeah. And so my coworker came back and he was like, hey, you know that guy you guys like or whatever? He's like, his coworker wants to know if she can get your number for him. And I was like, shut the up.
Did these Cupids, did they talk to you or Tyson before they acted and tried to make something happen?
My coworker didn't, but Tyson, I guess, would talk about me to them. Or I think, like, his coworker asked him something about, like, if there's, like, one girl, like, that, like, you could, like, date or blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you know that girl at the Santa Clara courthouse or whatever? He's like, her. And she was like, if I get her number for you, will you call her? And he's like, yeah.
Oh, so they made a more clear plan.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was blindsided. And I actually thought my coworker was lying. I was like, shut the up. Like, that's not nice.
Like, that's such a mean joke.
Yeah. So then I was like, yes. So he called me that night. I was at dinner with a friend of mine, and I just, so many butterflies. Like, I was so into him. And then he proceeded to, this was a Thursday that we talked. He did not call me for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Wait, so Tyson, the first time you spoke was over the phone?
Over the phone.
So,
over the phone.
You had like already interacted, but the first time you had any actual vocal words was over the phone.
Yeah. But then he didn't call me for 3 days. And I was like, what the? I was like, this guy. And then so on Monday, he actually came in because he had a filing. And I like was going on break, so I was like, "Oh, hi," and I just like went by, and I waited on the bench, knowing that he would have to come out. And so he came and he sat by me, and we were talking. He's like, "Do you want to go to dinner tonight?"
Oh,
blah, blah. Yeah. So we went to dinner, and he lived in San Francisco. I lived in San Jose. If you know the Bay, it's like an hour without traffic. And so we did that for so long. But I remember when we first started dating, and it's like when you're so into someone, anything that you do with them is just so exciting. Like, my husband loves going on like walks because he's from the city, so you walk everywhere. You can walk everywhere. It's beautiful. I'm from San Jose. Like, you don't walk anywhere. you drive to Starbucks down the street. And so he loves walking. He loves going to museums. He loves nature. He loves all these things that I don't really like
to take you and
but
show
when we first started dating, like, I would walk to New York with him, like, as long as I was like by him, like, it was just so thrilling. And yeah, exactly. But now if he's like, you want to go on a walk, I was like, have fun. Like, you want to go to the beach. He loves the beach and I don't like the beach, and I'm like, have fun. Like, but back then, when it like every little thing is so exciting, it doesn't matter what you're doing with
that
them.
early courtship of that. Like,
but that's why I'm excited for you, because I'm kind of living through that again, even though you haven't really had.
Well, I have those different experiences with every guy. Like, if it passes a certain point, there is that stage of like, oh, this is exciting. Let's see where it goes. I think with age, I'm learning to build that thick skin of not getting too emotionally involved yet still trying to stay open-minded, but I'm learning that balance where when I was younger, I'd be devastated, you know? Actually, no. Scratch that. I think because I was that artist lifestyle, the only time I was actually, like, really devastated were the guys that, like, I was in a significant relationship with. But before those or in between those with the guys who I was just dating, I was just like, peace. Maybe because I was just like, because like I knew I could find another date somehow with like being young and working in my 20s and all that. So,
and you don't have those memories together to get over. You don't have all of those like feelings or connections. Because I know like guys that I've dated, like a lot of times I love their family more than I love them. So like having to like break that off was very difficult. But, like, when it's just them, it's kind of like, okay, well.
Yeah. I haven't had to do that much.
The family aspect of it?
I think I've only had, like, there's only a few. It's more so, I've dated so much in Los Angeles, like, that majority of the dating experiences have not been significant. There has only been the very few special that were like, oh, this is a long time, and I would consider this a relationship. So, yeah.
For people at our age, like, do you feel like there's pressure for you to find someone and get married?
Oh, yeah. I think I go back and forth with this because I know people, I have girlfriends who are still single who, especially if they live that 9-to-5 corporate life and they have their shit together, they can afford the nicest cars, the houses on their own they could buy. They have their equity. They have everything.
Yeah.
And accept for the life that they want with like a family,
Yeah.
someone to settle down with. There's that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, while part of me still wants that, you know, I know that's not something that will fulfill me. And I know that will like, oh, I have to have this or it'll make me whole.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that, and I've had to sit with this and discern it and find this comfortability with it,
Mm-hmm.
where sure, that is something I want in my life and I desire it, but there are other parts of my life that feed me, like especially as an artist, especially as a teacher, my friendships. I am so grateful for all those things where I'm like, wow, this gives me so much joy and fulfillment that I'm trying to get to that place where having a partner is just icing on the cake. And it's like,
but
great.
you've said that, like I feel like you've said that some of your like best relationships have come out of like times when you're not trying to find someone. It's like, I'm living my life, I'm loving my life, I'm thriving, and then someone special just comes in.
Yeah, I would say all of my significant relationships came, and those were in person when that happened. Whereas now, even though it's only been, you know, months with the dating apps, still trying to keep an open mind, maybe. I don't know.
If anyone has ideas out there how Marie can meet people.
You know, if you see me walking down the streets or comment on there.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm not that desperate, please. No. But if you do know.
Just ideas. Just like, hey.
Yeah.
Because church is one.
I went down that road before, even though I was like, kind of like, I don't know. But I kept an open mind. I'm always trying to keep an open mind, you know?
Yeah. But it's hard now that you're working at a school because you can't
I'm not dating my students. And the teachers also, like, I don't even see the faculty most of the time because we're all like, oh, maybe in passing and don't really have as much interaction, especially at the college level. Like, unless you're tenured, you know, like maybe, but mostly everyone is like, either married already or older or... Yeah, it's slim pickings out there. It really is. But...
And I don't know, like Tyson and I have been like, who is a good person? We don't know anyone. Like, I feel like, I've been trying to think, but I can't think of anyone.
You know, that is not your responsibility. And I love my friends like you who will always say that. I'm like, oh, you guys are so sweet. At least it's in your mind. So if someone does come up,
it is. I've given you ideas for people I don't know. I'm like, oh, this guy
on IG.
This guy I follow on Instagram.
I'm like, I don't know. He has like 1.2 followers, Stacie, but I'm not one to DM somebody.
I don't know if he's straight or gay, but you might be a good fit.
Question mark. I'd like to know for sure if somebody plays for my team before I'm not above like making contact first. I don't know about DMs. Would you ever, if you were single, slide into somebody DMs?
Slide? No, I don't.
Is that
I don't think I would because
DMs? Is that how you say it?
It slide into your DM. Yeah, slide into the DMs or whatever. God, we're old. No, I don't think I could because for me, like I've told you before, I've mentioned this so much. I'm such an introvert. Like I need that. Like I would need to see their reaction to what, if they were like, got it, I wouldn't be able to see them being like, oh, hell no, or something, you know? I need to see like their reaction to like, if I ask them out
I just
or whatever.
thought of a connection. Do you remember back in the day with AIM? AIM?
AOL?
Dial-up?
Dial-up, yeah, that sound.
Have you heard that sound? I think I was in high school the first time I was like using that stuff. And, like, that's our old school text / DMs. Did you ever do that? Like, and communicate with?
No, but pagers. That's what... Pager code. I was so bad at doing pager code. That, I think, is, like, what I communicated on. I don't remember... I remember AIM, but I don't remember really using it to connect
Because there was the
with people.
groups. Like, you can find groups on there, Bay Area Hotties, or like
Bay Area Hotties!
925, da-da-da-da. And so you would just go into those groups. And then if you like broke off with somebody else, like, because everyone's in their group, like typing and stuff. And if you see something that catches your eye, you can like slide into their DMs or slide into their AIM or whatever.
I don't remember.
And I remember ASL, age, sex, location, or like, all
I
those.
don't remember that at all.
Yeah, because talking about this right now, I just like, oh yeah, that's what we did. That was our like slide into the DMs when we were younger.
Yeah. I don't remember.
So now
that.
I feel bad about judging me. I was like, oh, we did do that in high school.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember using AIM for that. I remember when I was like in grade school and like chat rooms were like
rooms.
a thing. And like my friend and I would just go in there and like talk to all these guys.
Yeah.
We had no idea who they were. And like egg them on and then just disconnect. Like, I had no idea who these people were.
Because it was all on like words and like we wouldn't know what they look like. Maybe I'm like, oh, so-and-so. So I was like, oh, at least we know that you're existing. And yeah. But wow.
How interesting. I've never used AIM like in that way. I not that I can remember.
Not that I ever dated either, but I think it was similar to you with like, just chatting with people. We've come a long way with like meeting people, with like dating, especially as a married person. When you hear a single person like me talking about the crazy stories, what is date life as a married person?
Date life? We don't have a date life.
Every day is date life.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's the hard part is like, you just get so comfortable with someone. Like our dates are like, do you want to like binge a TV show and like eat junk food? Like that's like my favorite thing to do. I could binge forever. But yeah, or we'll try and like go out to dinner and stuff or take trips. Tyson and I love to travel. That's one of our favorite things, but we really have been too scared to travel since the pandemic started. But yeah, that's really what we love to do is travel, see different countries. So that's really how our dates are big dates. So we don't like do little dates. We do like, okay, let's go to another country.
See,
that's
I like that.
Yeah.
You like, there's like that wait time of like, okay, let's binge and stuff. And then boom, there's this big, great date where you can just celebrate. See, that sounds lovely. Oh,
yeah, and it's important. And they always say, like, you don't really know someone until you either live with them or you travel with them.
Oh, the travel.
Yeah. And we travel so well together. But sometimes we'll bring my parents or, like, we traveled with his mom a lot. And it's harder for them to keep up with us because I am, when I plan traveling, I'm just, like, boom, 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 boom. Like, itineraries for like every day, but I don't take into context like jet lag or
because you're like, I can go. Let's go. Keep up with me.
But then like I'll get there and I'm like, I'm exhausted.
Oh, you do get exhausted.
Yeah, for the first couple days before it starts, but yeah.
But do you like adjust your itinerary? You're like, oh,
no, because everything's booked.
Oh no, because I was about to say like I want to travel with you. Someday.
Yeah.
I was like,
you should.
Fun.
It'll be fun. It's really fun. We should definitely go.
I like
and then maybe you can meet someone along the way. 90 Day Fiance.
That's like the ultimate dream, to be at like some foreign country and just to like fall in love with somebody there. And
From scratch.
My God.
That.
And it's a true story.
I know. I've never sobbed so much in my life. I remember seeing all these TikToks of people who were like sobbing and I was like, I don't really
like,
cry.
okay, that's over dramatic.
I was sobbing at like 4 a.m. It was so emotional.
I was ugly crying.
Yeah.
I was like mourning for that story.
Yeah, I know. And just like reading up like, what? Who are these real people?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of love.
So I think that's the plan. Let's go travel and meet new people in new countries.
No, game plan. Travel. Now, how am I going to pay for that?
Yeah, exactly. Few thought dating online was hard.
I know. Travel internationally.